Hi there, it's Gabrielle Nicolay from Speech Kids, and I'm coming to you from my home for a change. I wanted to talk to you today about how bedtime relates to speech and language development. I always ask my parents, the parents of the kids I'm working with, about bedtime. And why is that? There are a couple of different reasons. The first one is that we are learning so much about the role that sleep plays in brain development. There's so many studies right now about Alzheimer's and sleep, and weight gain and sleep, and attention and sleep. And if you remember last time we talked about attention a little bit, well, one of the reasons that's bedtime is so important, and I always ask my families about this, is because I need to know if I'm going to treat a child with speech and language issues, and really any child. Sleep is a major, major deal. It's really important. And the more we learn about sleep, the more we learn that how important it is for learning, for converting experiences that you've had during the day into long-term memory. So there's like a download process that happens while you're sleeping. For cleaning, it turns out there's a protein that gets removed while you sleep. So it's just sort of physiologically very, very important that humans sleep. And it turns out that many, many people from a very early age don't get enough sleep. So I'm always asking my parents about bedtime. And part of that is from a health perspective. The other reason I ask parents about bedtime is because bedtime is just a really nice opportunity to set up some really lovely, comforting rituals and routines. And rituals and routines, as you probably know, are really, really important especially for very young kids. They're important for all kids. And I know I say this a lot, but anything that I'm saying here it works for everybody, but it's especially necessary for kids who have speech and language or any kind of developmental issue. So I always say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. In other words, it's always good for everybody. And there are some kids that just really need a certain approach. And so back to bedtime, why is bedtime important? Bedtime is that time of day when hopefully you can turn all the distractions off. It's like maybe the one time in your day where your child needs and deserves and can have your full attention. And when you set up bedtime, a lot of times I can work with my families to set up a routine that really works. And we, do some thinking about, okay, what are the elements of the routine? Do they have a bath every night or not? What time is dinner? Do we need to move dinner because it's too late or too early? There's a bunch of sort of troubleshooting that we can do leading up to bedtime so that bedtime becomes much easier and bedtime becomes much more pleasant and bedtime happens at a time that's right for your child. And so I always ask my families about bedtime, and they sometimes look at me and say, well, what does that have to do with speech and language development? And as with all of the things that we're going to be talking about in this series, a lot. It has a lot. If you're interested in finding out more about how things play together, how child development interacts with speech and language development generally, I welcome you to go over to my website at speechkids.com and check out the free parenting workshop. There's also my toddler talk class available on there. And if you've got a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Take care. Bye-bye.